When I was 9, I stole my mother's diamond earrings, which were precious family heirloom, to give them to my sweetheart at the time. My mother comes from an old money family and inherited precious family jewelry, although she almost never wears it. One day in primary school, I decided to give a birthday gift to my sweetheart at the time, Lucille. I went to my mother's bedroom, picked out a pair of beautiful gold and diamond earrings, and put them in a small camera film box. The next day at school, I gave them to Lucille. Since my mother almost never wears jewelry, it took her several months to notice. But when she did, she was very upset. Not only did the earrings have sentimental value, but apparently I had stolen the most expensive pair of all. She searched everywhere for months and asked my brother and me many times if we had seen them. Eventually, my grandfather was informed, and he was furious too because those earrings had been passed down for many generations. It's been over 20 years now, and I have never said anything. Sometimes the topic still comes up. What's something that is sold for $100 or more that the $50 or $20 version does just fine? I've had items that wouldn't sell on eBay until I marked the price way up. Mostly clothing and accessories. I have a close friend who is a full-time artist and makes work all winter and then sells all summer on the art fair circuit. They went to a new show in a very swanky place and had high hopes despite the hefty booth fee. First day, sold nothing. Second day, sold nothing. This was unheard of for this person, as they make a very comfortable living doing this. So at the end of the second day, they walked around and checked out the work. The work was the same as any other art fair, but the prices were astronomical. So before the opening on the third day, they removed all the price tags, doubled the prices on most. The big ticket items, they really inflated the price. Third day, sold out? Humans are so weird. Comment what do you think and drop a like. What's the most out of touch thing you heard from rich people? Back when I was in my early 20s, my beat-up old car broke down in my Job's parking lot when I was about to drive home. I was getting paid $10 an hour as a pastry chef at a catering company. This was barely enough to cover my rent. I was obviously pretty distraught over my car dying. My boss company owner ended up saying to me, "Why are you so upset? It's just a car, just buy another one." I couldn't even respond. I just looked at her like she was crazy. Being told by a guy who has not worked a day in his life and living off of inherited money that poor people are poor because they don't invest their money right. How could your family accountant let that happen? When talking about how growing up we couldn't pay the bills and had our water, electricity shut off multiple times. How do you invest your money? Like and comment your thoughts. What's the most unethical parenting hack you know? Told her daughter that the kids' ears turn red when they lie, but only parents can see it. She would enter rooms with her hands covering her ears, and we knew we were in for a lie, lol. This may have worked better for me since one of the kids' parents has hearing loss, but I told my 4-at-the-time nephew that I couldn't hear. Whining, but if he would like to try again in a different tone of voice, I could understand him better. Right now I could see his lips move, but that was all. He did an admirable job with modulation after that, and I got him what he'd asked for. If your toddler accidentally touches something hot, you have the opportunity to tell him many things in the house are also hot and should be avoided. Do you have any personal experiences? Like and follow.
What's a huge waste of money, but people keep buying it?
I would say many baby toys. You spend a lot of money on flashy, expensive gifts that end up sitting unused, while the child plays all the time with a cheap toy from the dollar store. Tease a bit of a cliche, but from my experience, kids often prefer the simple things like a cardboard box. You don't need to spend a lot of money on toys and games for a 1 to 3-year-old.
As a smoker cigarettes, by far the idiotic addiction I have.
All those ads. Buy more to save more. Huh. How about I buy nothing and save everything? Big ass weddings. It's okay if you can afford it, but if you're gonna be in debt, then what's the point? The latest cell phone when current works perfectly. I always thought it was super dumb to go overboard on an infant's Christmas gifts. Babies are basically potatoes that age LOL. What is something 80% of the USA wants, but the government doesn't care? The ability to cancel services you sign up for online the same way you signed up online, not through phone calls and retention agents. Affordable healthcare. While we may feel differently about the solution, I'm pretty sure we all agree that a person who got into a small accident shouldn't be saddled with $1 million bill. Simple or taxes surprised I've scrolled for so long and not seen it. Every person wants easy taxes. TurboTax, unfortunately, does not, holding billion-dollar companies accountable for breaking the law. Stop foreign ownership as well. Hell, stop owning more than 5 properties per individual. Clean air and water. Crackdowns on spam calls. What do you think?
What's a bad thing everyone should experience at least once? Rejection. Rejection and failure are such great growth opportunities. Incredibly painful in the moment, but how you handle it and bounce back can make a big difference in how well you do in life moving forward. And if you handle it poorly at first, it's still an opportunity to learn and grow and become stronger. Recognize that you suck at some things, and learn that sucking at something is the first step to not sucking at something. When you realize loving someone isn't enough to make a relationship work, it taught me a lot about life in general. We can't always think with our heart. Sometimes things are meant to be a lesson, and life just isn't fair. Sadness in general. As Bob Ross said, gotta have a little sadness once in a while, so you know when the good times come. He said that very shortly after his wife died. I don't know if many of us quite feel that level of sadness and can still keep our wits the way he did.
What long-held scientific assertions were refuted only within the last 10 years? Keeping peanuts away from infants for a couple years of age to prevent allergies. Turns out, doing this is the reason there are so many peanut allergies now. They changed the rule about 7 years ago. Most dinosaurs having had feathers is kind of a big one, considering they all are depicted as big, featherless lizards. The big lizard look is so ingrained in society that we just sort of decided to ignore it. You have eyelashes. Living in your eyelash pores are mites. It was believed for the longest time that these mites did not have anuses and did not defecate. They would simply grow and grow until they filled with too much poop and simply popped. In the last 10 years, it has been discovered that, no, these mites do in fact have anuses.
What is something that seems easy to other people, but is difficult for you? Talking to people. Really, I just don't know how to strike conversation with people. My 8-year-old son is so good at this, he always finds something to talk to people he just met. I just can't. Whistling and opening beer bottles with anything else than a bottle opener. Yes, I'm German, and we have a reputation of being able to open a beer bottle with just about anything, but I guess that software update just didn't get installed here. Guessing where is left and right. Every time someone tells me turn left, I have to carefully think about it, and most of the time I'm wrong. I'm right-handed and have a tattoo on my left wrist. But it doesn't change a lot. The process has to take some time. Speaking in front of a group of people. I can do it, but reluctantly. I hate making presentations and job interviews where there's 3 or 4 people on the panel. Knowing if someone actually is flirting with me or just being nice.
What's a stupid life hack that actually worked out?
Moved to another state and wanted to attend the state university. You had to live in state for a year before they would consider you a resident. The tuition was a lot more for non-residents. I read the fine print and it said if you own a business, you would be considered a resident immediately. I got a business license for my new business, Green Thumbs Landscaping Company, mowed my neighbor's lawns and saved a ton.
These may sound silly, but feel like game changers to me. Brushing my long and easily tangled hair before getting in the shower makes post-shower hair stuff so much easier. If you want to curb impulse shopping online, make a wishlist page where you save everything you want to buy. Pick one day of the week where you're allowed to purchase things. By the time you get to that day, you don't want half the stuff on the wishlist anymore. My day is Monday.
Saw this list on TikTok saying random things I love about men. Men chewing gum. When they sit back, their legs spread. Men that have 0 female friends, toxic IDC. When you notice they're picking up your slang. When he's good at math. When he loosens his tie and he cuffs up his sleeves. When he's a good parker. When he wears gray sweatpants. What's the equivalence for women?
In my experience, their snack game is just on a whole different level than dudes. Nate, I don't really even keep snacks around in the house. If I want something bad enough, I'll go buy it, then eat it right away, and that's the end of snack time for a few days. Maybe I'll grab a bag of chips on my way home for the weekend. My girlfriend moves in and bam, we've got a dedicated snack cupboard. She's bringing shit in that I totally forgot existed. When I tell you I hadn't eaten pudding in like 8 to 10 years, I am not exaggerating. Girlfriend brings some home the other day and I'm like, I fucking love this woman.
Profoundly disabled 7-year-old into a residential facility so I can forget he exists, and I'm not sorry. I can't tell anyone this. even my therapist. Lambast me if you want, and maybe I even deserve it. I only ask what you would do if you were in my situation, not what you think people should do, what you would really do. I'm a single mom of two boys, 12 and 7. My husband passed away 3 years ago in a work accident. A very large portion of me believe it was a suicide. I can't see him ever making the mistake he made that caused his death. And he had taken an action just before that which ensured his co-workers weren't in. We were told when I was pregnant that he would have Down syndrome. We could handle that, even if it was severe. It turned out he has a chromosome deletion. His disorder is kind of rare, so I won't post which specific one, but suffice to say, he'll never be anything more than he is now or has ever been. And what he is nothing. He doesn't appear to have any awareness and never has. His eyes are locked in one position. He doesn't respond to noise, touch, or pain. He is total care. He is capable of nothing. He is tube-fed and on oxygen. He is in diapers and will be forever. He makes no sounds, no attempts to communicate. He's ruined my older son. I was so wrapped up on the younger. I never realized how ignored and damaged he was. He lost his father too. I didn't just lose my husband. He is my priority now. And this malignant lump can be someone else's problem. At least they'll be paid a wage to care for him. At least they'll get a break from him when they punch out. I just want to never think of him again. And I'm not sorry. And for that, I'm sorry. Thanks for hearing. Edit. Thanks you Picaniques for calling me a liar. Are you a medical doctor? If your Google foo was any good, you would have stumbled on 3P mosaic deletion duplication syndrome. That is the disorder my son has. I've basically identified myself by posting that. But hey, it's better than the PMs telling me to kill myself. If you look at the features of 3P deletion syndromes, they look like Downs. My insurance didn't cover AFP testing, which would have told us it wasn't Downs, and I didn't think we needed it. I had a regular ultrasound and a 3D. Both DRs were 99 sure it was Downs. This post was absolutely not fiction. Instead, the mods and especially you Picaniques just decided it was. If anyone would like, I'll dox myself. You can see my ID to verify my name, my marriage license, and my husband's death certificate. I will then link you to the news article of the freak industrial accident that ended his life, so you can see it's the same person. He never even really cried as a baby. He has never made an attempt to interact with anyone or his environment. I'm not upset because I got a special needs imperfect child. I feel the way I feel because this thing takes up 200% of my time and does nothing. I didn't get an imperfect child. I didn't get a child. I don't love him. He doesn't have any personality. There is nothing to love. And yet I'm responsible for him. In addition to his extreme delays, he's also medically fragile. Respiratory crises, fecal impactions, his autonomic nervous system doesn't function properly, issues with his G-tube, infections, pressure sores. No matter WH-80 we put him on or how we position him. Our older son has suffered because his non-existent brother has colored everything in his life. He's had medical care get delayed because there's only one of me and Ho's brother is more critical. We do have a visiting home nurse, but only 20 hers are weak and we aren't eligible for more. I was starting law. The final straw was I heard a sound. I went into younger son's room to check, thinking he had forgotten how to breathe again, and saw older son hitting him and screaming, "You're why I don't have a mother. You're why I don't have a father. You're why I can't have friends over. You're why I can't be I." Instead of being horrified, I watched, and younger son just did not react. No signs of pain or fear or upset. No reaction at all. He breathes, but he is not alive. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know who older son is. He